What's going on, guys? I'm Lakota.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back, guys. I hope that you've had a great week, and if you're new here, hey, how you doing? Pull up a chair. It's nice to have you here. I gotta say, I'm excited about today's video because, as I stated in this previous video, I don't do a lot of fan art. It's never been really in my wheelhouse. I've done a little bit, video game stuff, but that not cartoon characters. I don't do a whole lot of that. But I wondered what kind of wild and weird things could we come up with if I asked you guys to suggest to me some cartoon characters to mash up with other cartoon characters. So, once again, I took to the internet and you guys didn't let me down. You came up with some really good suggestions. I appreciate that. I love all the engagement on the socials. I love you. Oh, my nose itches. Allergy season is creeping up, and this is like the allergy season foreplay. It's gonna happen soon. All right, enough of that. Let's take a look at what we got. So the first mashup that we've got here is Adventure Time and SpongeBob SquarePants. Both of these cartoons have a very special place in my heart. They are both very bingeable shows. I think I could still probably sit down and watch SpongeBob from episode 1 on with my kids. It's kind of the same deal with Adventure Time. Whenever my son was younger, we discovered Adventure Time. We ended up just binging it on, I believe, Netflix at the time. We've done that a couple times here recently, actually. It keeps getting under my arm and I don't like it. I think my favorite episode of SpongeBob has to be SB129, where it's the episode where Squidward is trying to get away from Patrick and SpongeBob. He ends up getting frozen in the Krusty Krab freezer and just is frozen for like 100 years, 200 years, something like that. He ends up taking a time machine back to caveman times and meets caveman SpongeBob and Patrick, and it's just a wonderful episode. And my favorite Adventure Time episode is definitely Blood Under the Skin, which is where Finn and Jake go on, they just go on a quest, but it's got the drop ball guy in it. It's that game where they pick up the ball with their butt and then drop it. It's just good writing. Now, what I wanted to do with this mashup was I wanted to mash up the main characters with the secondary characters. I really like the way that it came out. I don't know if I'll run into like licensing issues or whatever, but I'm gonna get prints made of this because even if it's just for my house, I don't know. I really enjoy this piece. Mostly because Plankton Bimo down here is just adorable. Look at him. Anyway, a big thank you to Maya Omei, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, for suggesting the Adventure Time SpongeBob mashup because I enjoy the process and I also enjoy the outcome. So thank you. It was a lot of fun. All right, now this next mashup was just as much fun. It is Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy and Goku from Naruto. I'm just kidding. I know he's from Dragon Ball, but let me know in the comments if you just had a mini stroke when I said that. Ed, Edd n Eddy was another one of me and my brother's favorite shows. I love the dynamic of the show. I like that, like, each character in that show was like interesting and they served a purpose at some point. I like that a lot. And I also like shows, like I like cartoons that portray childhood. It's like this separate society that has like its own like rules and reputation, currencies and hangouts, because like growing up in the 90s, that's really what it felt like. Shows like Doug, Hey Arnold, and Ed, Edd n Eddy, they really resonated with 90s kids. I never did get into Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. There was a lot of hype. Like in middle school, everybody was drawing Dragon Ball characters. They were talking about it all the time. There was people, at recess, those kids who were like, ah! And I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I've never been really big into anime. Some of it I like. Some of it I really like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Fist of the North Star. I like a lot of Miyazaki stuff. Actually, I do like anime, but I like early 90s and 80s anime. Akira is a masterpiece. I feel like everybody knows that. Like, that goes without saying. But Dragon Ball, just, I don't know. I could not. It never drew me in. Am I happy with how this turned out? Yes. I kind of want to do the rest of the characters in this, I'm not even going to call this anime style, because it's not really... is it? I don't know. I don't know what qualifies as anime. I don't know. What I do know is I enjoy it. I think that it turned out to my liking. I hope it turned out to your liking. Thank you, Johnny Yeager. Again, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for suggesting these two characters. I hope that you enjoyed it. The next mashup was suggested by animator Dylan Carbonell. It was Dexter's Lab and Jimmy Neutron. Dexter's Laboratory was good. I remember liking it. I was pretty young whenever I watched it because there was a big chunk of my life as a child where I just didn't have Cartoon Network, so I had no way of watching it. But it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the animations. I thought there was one episode that sticks out is whenever Dexter makes himself an old man and he's got to eat like his pills mixed up in his applesauce. I love that episode. I don't know why that one stands out to me. Jimmy Neutron, I hated that show. Early CGI, when like TV shows got their hands on it, and they're like, "Oh, this is what everybody wants is CGI cartoons." And they just didn't have a proper budget. They made disgusting looking stuff. The voicing in that show was abysmal. Every voice was so grating. And Carl and Shane, worst characters ever invented. I can't adequately describe how much I hated that show. Which is really weird because it got really big. So, maybe I'm the idiot, but I couldn't stand it. It was gross. That show was gross. And speaking of being gross, I think that Dylan just wanted me to draw Dexter and Jimmy mashed together, but I wanted to draw their moms mashed together. No, I'm not talking about a Rule 34 situation here. I'm just saying that, like, let's face it, if you grew up and ended up liking them just a little bit mature, a little bit thick, you probably grew up watching Dexter's Lab. And then there was that episode where they all went swimming and she was in a swimsuit. Cartoon Network, you knew what you were doing. Anyway, I did a mashup of the moms as well, and I think I did it justice. I think that it's funny when you smash those two together, blend those. I gotta quit talking about smashing moms together. When you blend those cartoon characters together, you kind of get Phineas and Ferb's mom. I'm just worried now that I've drawn this cartoon mom that now the floodgates are open and I'm going to start getting a lot of weird requests. All right, well, thank you, Dylan, for your suggestion. I hope that you like it, because I do, especially the mom. All right, the fourth mashup on this list is by far my favorite one, and as far as the internet goes, I think it's their favorite as well. It did really well on Facebook and Reddit, and this one is also definitely getting prints, and that mashup is Rainbow Bright and He-Man. As much as I love the stuff that came out of the 70s and 80s, the movies, the music, the toys, the color schemes, I myself am a product of the 90s, which means that I missed both of these characters. And that kind of sucks because working in thrift retail, I've seen a lot of He-Man toys come through, and they are badass. Which, by the way, all the best toys came out of the 80s and 90s. No competition. I know a little bit about He-Man, mostly through memes, and that's about it. I remember the CKY song about Skeletor and all that. I also remember watching the live action movie. I just remember watching it. I remember nothing about it other than Skeletor was one of the worst looking things I've ever seen. It was so, well, like, he's in the cartoon, he's just like got a skull and a body. I love Skeletor's voice. He reminds me of the Monarch from Venture Bros, who's my favorite villain of all time. I don't know if he's as goofy as the Monarch, and I know that they just remade He-Man for like Netflix, but I haven't watched that either. I don't watch a whole lot of things anymore unless I'm working on art. And I know absolutely nothing about Rainbow Bright other than she is a product that exists in this universe. She honestly looks to me like a Care Bear had an unholy union with a human character, and she's what came out. I'm assuming that she has rainbow powers and probably the power to like fight things with love. I don't know. That sounds very 80s, and I haven't looked it up, but I'll bet you anything I'm close. As far as the finished product, though, I love it. This I think is not even just like the best thing I've done for this little project, but this is probably one of my best pieces I've ever done. And again, licensing issues be damned, I'm gonna get prints made of this. Let me know in the comments what you think, and thank you, Sam Gulpin, for suggesting this, because it was a good time working on it. I really enjoyed it. All right, so in the middle of working on all of these projects, I had something happen. An old friend reached out to me and showed me one of the mashups that he had done, which was Demon Slayer and SpongeBob. And this is my friend Trent's, his mashup of those two cartoons, and I think he did a great job. But then he gave me a challenge, and that challenge was to mash up a 90s cartoon character with a 90s video game character, and we had a week to get them finished. So I accepted the challenge. Now, while I love the idea of the challenge, it took me a while to decide what I was going to do. I had a couple that I almost landed on, and that was Donkey Kong Country and Angry Beavers, Earthworm Jim and Courage the Cowardly Dog, Mario and Luigi with Beavis and Butthead. But then I thought, no, you know what? I'm gonna, just like with Dexter and Jimmy's mom, start tiptoeing back into sexy territory. So what I landed on was a bunch of people's adolescent heartthrob, Roxanne from a Goofy movie, and the sexiest video game character that I could think of from the 90s, Wario. And how did that turn out, you ask? Well, let me show you. Boom! That's how it turned out. Welcome to Roxanne's Woods. Is it weird? Yes. Do I find it arousing? Maybe. There will be prints available of this as well. I hope that you love it as much as I do. Oh, and by the way, Trent finished his as well. He actually finished his before me, but here's his. It is Duke Nukem and Johnny Bravo, which I think turned out great. Thanks, Trent. I appreciated the challenge. It was fun, and we will definitely have to do it again sometime. And that's it, guys. That's all I got. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe check out this video if you liked this one, because it's a lot of the same kind of stuff. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!